Hi everyone, welcome to another rec workshop. Thank you for being here this afternoon. Today we have Steven Sivitz. He's a longtime supporter of the rec. He's actually been a mentor since the very first month. So thank you, Steven. He's also a mentor at SCORE San Diego, and we're very glad to have this partnership with SCORE, which is a great organization providing mentorship to students and entrepreneurs here in San Diego and all over. So with that, I'll pass it over to Steven and we'll get started.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Enzo. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Professor Hertz, and all the others, colleagues at the Rec Center. Just first, a personal observation. The Rec Center, to me, is one of the most vibrant communities and environments for the entrepreneurial spirit and individuals like yourselves on helping to fulfill your vision and your goal of starting a business. I feel very fortunate to be associated with the Rec Center. I'm very proud of it. I've also been fortunate to be able to mentor many of your colleagues. So I have firsthand experience of how capable you all are. My hope today in this discussion is to not only talk to you about how to develop a better product, but more importantly, how to understand your customer base and evolve that into a business. So we're going to talk about a couple of key elements to that, but also I'm periodically going to add some other tidbits that hopefully you'll capture and realize how valuable they are as being part of your overall business education and efforts. A little bit about myself. I have started two companies a long time ago in the high-tech area. My background is in business development, sales, marketing, product management. I've worked for some very large companies in those roles, such as Qualcomm, Siemens, Motorola, and also quite a few startups in the San Diego area. So I'm really thrilled to be able to share this experience that I have, which I didn't have when I was at your position of how do I develop a product, how do I launch a business. So hopefully I can help you avoid a lot of the skin knees and the broken knuckles, because starting a business and developing a product is not an easy task. And I tip my hat to each of you for, at the very least, having the aspiration. So with that, let me go directly to our presentation. We are going to ask you to use the chat box, which will be monitored by Angela and Enzo. And we also have a Q&A afterwards. So if there's something really significant that you would like to flag while I'm talking, please use the chat and we'll have Enzo or Angela just jump right in. So today's discussion is about customer discovery. And this is a pretty new term. I never heard of it when I was at your stage of trying to develop a new product. Had no idea. The term didn't exist. The idea really was not structured at all. So what we're really going to focus on is, what I'm saying here is, don't talk to your customers, listen to them. So with that, again, I want to go down to some real fundamentals, and hopefully you see how this is going to evolve into the overall message. But first, let's talk about what is a product. And it's surprising how many different interpretations there are. Most of them are right. Also, some people don't realize what actually are products. Some people don't realize that a service is a product. So according to Merriam-Webster, a product is anything that can be offered to the marketplace and satisfy a particular need or desire of the customer and user. And here's our first little sideline. We're going to talk about the difference between customer and user, which is going to be important to you. when you start thinking about your product definition. So a product can be a service or an item. As an example, Verizon Wireless, they provide a product. It's cellular connectivity. There is a voice product. There is a data product. So while they are services and you can't touch them, they don't weigh anything. They are products. They are services. So the description of a product is really very elementary, okay? It's something that is relevant to your customers, something that the customers, the users feel that they need or that they want, okay? A product also must be able to actually deliver on what it's supposed to. And there have been a lot of companies, large and small, that have launched a product which did not deliver on what it was supposed to be able to provide to the user or the customer. So it may have been perceived as a product, but quite honestly, companies learn this, it was a failure. So customers need to know why they want your product, okay? How are they going to use it? And one of the key points I'm going to constantly talk about and drive home is what are the benefits, or what is the benefit that the customer derives from that product? And how does that product make their life better? Okay, very simple, but sometimes really not well understood or overlooked. So another part of the formula, what's a customer? Okay, customer is somebody that actually purchases the product, whether it's an item, whether it's a service. Okay, and the customers that you are thinking about usually all have several things in common. It might be their age group, it might be their sex, it might be their location. Hopefully, it's what their need is or what their pain point is. Therefore, why would they be interested in your product? So, very important. The other thing I highlight here, what is a customer versus what is a user? Both of them are important. A customer is the one that actually pays you money for your product. The user is somebody that may use the product but doesn't pay you. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but let me give you an example. I am counseling a student in another university who's going for a master's of engineering and mechanical engineering, and they had this great idea for a baby seat, a new baby seat for a car. Talked about it a lot, and finally I said to him, "Who's your customer?" He said, "Oh, anyone from 4 months old to 4 years old." And I said, "No, wrong. That's the user. The customer is the parents or the grandparents. Okay, the customer is the person that's going to give you money. Even in a commercial environment, if you're going to be selling B2C, you may be developing a product or a service that you are targeting towards the engineering group, okay, or some other group in the company. And you may say, "Oh, my customer are the engineers. They're the designers. They're the ones that are going to use the product." The engineers are not the customer. The engineers are not the ones that are signing the check to pay you money for your product. The engineers are the users. Very important. And they're very likely influencers to the customer, who is going to be somebody who is going to be allocating the funds from their budget and authorizing the purchasing department to sign the check. So in some respects, you could say that the customer is the purchasing department. But at the very least, it's the person or the group that is responsible for the budget that the money is coming from. So a big difference between customer and user. They have different requirements. Okay, let's go back to the baby seat. The parents are the customer. The baby's the user. The parent's number one priority is the safety of the seat. The baby, the user, their number one priority might be the comfort of the seat. Okay, different but important priorities. So you need to understand your customer requirements versus your user requirements. Both can be important and will influence your product activity. What is discovery? Okay, this is going to be the crux of what we're going to talk about right now. So, according to Merriam-Webster, discovery is the process or act of discovering something. Okay, and I highlight here is to find out. And that's what we're really going to drill down on in this workshop, is the importance for you to find out what does your customer need? What does your market need? What are their pains? What are they willing to pay for? What will they appreciate? Okay, that's very important discovery, finding out what they really want. What pains do they have? What void do they have? Okay, so when you think about customer and discovery and you combine these two together, that's what leads you to success. Okay, so before you really start to develop a product, you really want to start thinking about your customer discovery activity. Same thing with your marketing or go-to-market activities. The fundamental question you must answer is, what problem are you trying to solve or pain are you trying to reduce for that customer segment? Okay, so think about it. Okay, let's take another example, that you've got somebody that believes that they want to sell women's apparel. Okay, huge market, huge opportunities, but they've got to figure out is what market segment is having a problem that they think their approach can help resolve. Okay, one client that I have is thinking about an apparel business of designing and selling clothing for women that have difficult body sizes to find high quality, fashionable clothes for. Okay, she feels that that is a underserved market segment, and she can relate because she herself realizes that she has a very difficult body size. So she is looking at that now, not from where she really started, but thinking about, again, what problem can she help resolve for what particular market segment? Okay, so discovery is to help you determine who your customer is and why we are offering really appeal to that customer. Again, they're going to hand you money for your solution. So there must be some value to them. There must be some resolution of a problem or a void that you're going to fill. So customer discovery, you think about it, it needs to answer two primary points. One is, what is the purpose of your product or your business? And secondly, what problem does it solve? Keep that in mind. So customer discovery is very important. First off, it validates your assumed product market fit. Okay, as the saying goes, do you think you can sell ice to the Eskimos? Now, some sales people that I know think they're that good that yes, I can sell ice to the Eskimos, or a heater to people who live in the Gobi Desert, Sinai Desert. So you got to think about customer discovery is going to help you validate your product market fit. Do they go together? Do you have the right product for the market that you think you're going to be selling to? Okay. Also, your customer discovery is going to help you to better define your product features. And not only the features, but what is the rollout of those features? And can those features carry an additional fee or price associated with them? Will people pay extra for that feature that you have? So your customer discovery is going to eventually look at your solutions and help you to determine what is your feature rollout for your product. Additionally, most of you who get to the point of developing a good product plan and a business strategy are very likely to look for third-party funds, because starting a company is expensive, okay? And it takes time. Having customer discovery, where you've got actual data, where you've got stories, where you've got people validating your hypotheses, that gives your investors a comfort level to invest in your business, invest in your product. So it's going to be important with your customer discovery that you retain the details that you can point to in the future for your investment discussions and say that you've done this customer discovery over these numbers of months or these numbers of years, or that it's ongoing. And here are the statistics, here are the analytics that point to your customer base validating your product strategy, your features, and your value assumption. Investors look at that very seriously. Other thing about your customer discovery, it's going to help you eliminate bad assumptions. And everybody who thinks about a product starts with certain ideas, certain assumptions of what they want to see in the product, what the product should look like, what it should feel, how heavy it is, what color should be. These are all your assumptions, and they're necessary to start. But your assumptions that you start with may not necessarily be the same as what you end up with, because you want to be responsive to the market. Okay. Again, the customers are going to tell you, is your product too heavy? Is your product too difficult to open? Is your product too difficult to use? You might think that the user interface is very simple and straightforward, but you're going to find out that people don't like to go through 3 or 4 different menu selections to get to the actual activity that they want to use your device for. So again, the customer discovery is going to give you that ability to look at what your assumptions are throughout the process of developing your product and your business. Just because you thought of it, or just because your chief technology people thought of an idea or a feature or a function, doesn't mean that it's what the customers want. It might be a good idea, might be really something cool and essential, but customers may not use it. And let me give you an example. And this is really going to date me. I don't know how many of you ever used a video recorder, a VCR, video cassette recorder. This was 20, 30 years ago. They were the biggest thing going in electronics. Okay. Every home had them. They were great. Video cassette recorders typically came out with somewhere between 60, 70, and 80 different features. Most people use 3: play, rewind, eject. Okay. But the VCR had 40, 50, 60 features because engineers thought it was cool things to add. The marketplace never validated that they needed all those various features. Like I said, most people, and I'm going to say 80 or 90% of them, use 3 features. The other ones Totally unnecessary. So again, just another example. So what's the customer discovery timing?
So Steve, really quick,
Yeah.
we have a question in the chat.
Sure.
So it was a question asking, how can the market of a region be considered correct? For example, I want to import to a country of Qatar and and how can I know both market and be better than my competitors?
Okay. So this is, again, we're going to get to that, but it revolves around you getting into the marketplace, okay, and talking to the market, talking to your customers, and finding out from them what is important to them, okay? You must interview people, and that's later on in the discussion. We'll get to that. That is the most critical element and approach to customer discovery, is actually talking to customers. A lot of companies, a lot of people, they do surveys. Nowadays, it's very common to participate in user groups, chat groups on Facebook, Instagram, etc. A lot of good information, a lot of good feedback. But until you actually talk to customers one-on-one, you're not going to have as valid of information. That's going to give you the ability to think about how do you set yourself apart from your competitors. Okay, what do people want? What do people not like about your competitors? So the whole discovery process has a primary foundation around interviewing people. And there's an expression, in the corporate world says, get out of the office. Okay. Hopefully that helps you. And we can talk about that a little bit more.
So Steve, speaking of interviewing people, do we have a poll for these for our attendees to take, or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So Enzo, why don't you put up both polls? We're not going to talk about it now, but certainly would like you people, now that I've given you a little bit of a sampling of what we're going to be talking about, what customer discovery is. Okay.
So I'm putting up the first poll. I'll leave it up for another 30 seconds or so, and then I'll go to the next one. So everyone, make sure you get your answers in. Thanks. And Steve, while the polls are up, you can keep going with the presentation, I think,
Sure.
and then
Okay.
I'll share the results after.
So the timing of customer discovery. So timing is sometimes challenging to people, because a lot of times you want to charge for it. You've got an idea. You think this is great. Hey, let's get started. And I applaud that enthusiasm. But I encourage you to think about beginning your customer discovery early on in your process of defining your product and eventually your business. So it's very important to start early so that you don't spend unnecessary cycles of pursuing an idea or a feature or a market segment that may not be what you're expecting. Okay, you may have a great product idea, and all of that is very legitimate, but you just may not realize that you're targeting the wrong market segment, that your product is not so suitable for school age children, people, but more suitable for college or young adults. Okay, so the discovery may help you validate the product idea, but give you a better appreciation and focus on what is the market segment. Or the reverse could be true. The customer discovery would tell you that, gee, the product that you want for that market segment, women in their young adult life who are live in urban areas, that's not the product for them, okay? What you're thinking about is not what they are really looking for. They don't need that type of product because of where they're living or what their social activities are or are not. So early stage beginning of your customer discovery is going to be important to give you a sense of, are you focused on the right features with the right product concept to the right audience? You don't want to spend, like I said, too many cycles, chasing the wrong activity. Another important statistic and why customer discovery is so important is a recent research, and I have seen this number used very frequently. Over 40% of businesses fail because their product did not fit the market need. 40%. Sometimes these are startup companies. They fold for any number of reasons. Most often it's the product did not fit the market need. And we'll talk about how to get more detail on why the product may not have fit the need. Some of them are established companies that the product did not fit the market need. So it's just not a statistic relative to startups. This is a statistic that also carries forward into established companies. So it's very important to think about starting your customer discovery early in your process. It's going to help get you going down the right path. It's going to energize you when you start getting the kind of feedback that is going to be encouraging, and it's going to support your hypotheses. It's also, again, going to help you avoid, chasing a rainbow. Okay. So there are lots and lots of articles and books written on different phases of customer discovery. I've tried to simplify it so that it's relatively easy to understand. You're going to see, like I said, other approaches using different terms, more steps, but these are the primary phases of your customer discovery. The first one is develop a hypothesis. Okay, as it says, this is your educated guess. This is your assumption of what the product should be, what the market need is, what the pain people have. Okay. Also, you can have multiple assumptions, and you should in customer discovery. You want to have a hypothesis of who is your target customer. Okay. Is it the woman who's a young adult, or is it the older person, man or woman, who's living in the urban environment? Okay. Also, very important, why are they interested in the product? Again, this gets back to my premise. What problem are you solving? What pain are you relieving? What void are you filling for them? Your second step, your second phase, whatever you might want to call it, is you want to test your hypothesis. And this is what I said, the most effective way to do this is to interview people, talk to people, get out of the office. It's sometimes difficult, when you can't reach people, but our situation with the pandemic is evolving such that you can approach people now one-on-one. And it's important for you to think about, the interview. And one of the things that you don't want to do is you don't want to start out the interview or the discussion by telling them, oh, I'm developing this product that's going to do this, that. Wrong approach. Okay. One of the things also, as a side note, we ought to lobby Professor Hertz for is to have a course on how to do customer discovery interviewing. It is a specialty. I counsel a lot of people on it. But when you're thinking about your interview, who you want to interview, start out, with a small group, friends and family, people that you know. Okay. But Don't think of them as friends and family. Think of them as potential customers. So don't rely on your relationship when you're talking to them. And what you want to do is you want to get a dialogue going in the general area that you're trying to discover without telling them you're building this type of product or you're thinking about this type of business. You want to hear them react to, hey, I've got this, activity that I'm doing at the university. And one of the things that we have to think about is, how do people feel about taking their young child on a trip out of the house? This is what I helped the mechanical engineer develop his interview with. Ideally, what you're going to hear from the person you're interviewing, they said, oh, that is such a headache to me. Anytime I have to take my child somewhere. Your follow-on question, interview question, is why is it such a problem for you? Well, I got to get the baby seat into the car, and it's so difficult. It only goes in this. You want them to be telling you what their problems are. Again, don't talk to them, listen to them. So it's ideal when you start your discovery interview with a person, it's a very broad subject. Don't be afraid to use the notion that, you're taking this course, you're studying this, you're doing that, and you would like some feedback from somebody like them on this particular idea or this particular notion. In the interview process, you constantly want to ask them to go deeper when they make a statement that is of importance to you. So when they say, it's such a pain for me to get my child to get into the car, your follow-on question is, why is that? Why is it so difficult? What makes it difficult for you? How could it be easier? So this is all part of the interview process, okay? Where you're asking somewhat leading questions, but you're leading them to give you feedback on things that you think are going to be important for you to think about and use in your own product and business evolution. The interviewing process is also going to help you better identify your target market. Because when you start talking to certain, different people, you're going to realize, well, geez, these people are not my target market for the baby seat. Okay, their kids are all grown. They don't have to worry about a baby seat anymore. They're not my target market, which is great feedback for you to know. The other thing, like I said, is in this phase of interviewing, this is not a time for you to put together a sales pitch about, this is my idea, this is what I'm doing, okay? You want them to tell you what problems are they having, what voids do they have, what things would make life better for them, okay? Third phase is test your product assumptions and your concepts, okay? So at some point, you're going to want to talk to people and you want to kind of lead them into talking about what types of baby seat might be appealing to you. What are features of a baby seat that are important to you? How do you feel about a baby seat that is very expensive but very safe? Okay? You're not telling them what you're going to be doing, but you're testing your hypotheses and your product concepts with them. And not a final phase, but eventually you're going to start analyzing the feedback that you get from your interviews. And you're going to be looking for trends. You're going to be looking for, what did this particular category of potential customer tell me about the baby seat? Okay, what was important to them? Was price important to them? Was the ease of installing it and taking it out important to them? Was pretty color important to them? So you're going to analyze your feedback. Another important thing to think about is during this customer discovery, you're going to learn a lot of things about what are the hot buttons that you can use in your eventual marketing message. Okay, what do people talk about What's important to them about your product? Do they want it priced low, or do they not care what the price is as long as it does exactly what it's supposed to do, or that it never breaks, or that it's easy to install? These are things that you're going to get from customer discovery that eventually you can fold into your marketing message, your product positioning. And again, like the chat question is, how do you position yourself against your competition? Because what you're going to do is you're going to leverage things that your market has told you. Okay. So these are phases of customer discovery. When you're done with these 4 phases or 5 phases, start over. Customer discovery never ends. So once you've done your initial customer discovery, go back and create new hypotheses about things that you learned that you're now going to factor into your product plan or your business plan. And go back and test these new hypotheses with different people. One of the things that I say to clients and to students like yourselves, when customer discovery ends, the business dies. Guaranteed. I'll give you an example of customer discovery that some of you may be familiar with. I'm sure you're all aware of the Apple stores, okay? You go in there and they've got some very capable people that are going to talk about different products, features, capabilities, et cetera. They also have their Genius Bar. That is one of their mechanisms of customer discovery. A lot of that information gets funneled back to some different organizations within Apple of what are people talking about? What are people complaining about? What technical issues are they having? What's breaking on the product? Or what do people not understand how to use on a product? That's all part of customer discovery that gets funneled back to Apple and their product management groups who are thinking about the next generation products and how to make things even better. So customer discovery never ends, okay? Even when you think you've got a successful product, begin new customer discovery on what's the next generation or what's the next product that you're going to be looking at. Then your customer discovery really looks at all of these outside influences, and it validates your hypotheses for the product and for the business. So besides thinking about what do people want in the way of the product capability, what do they want in the way of the business? Okay, do they actually want to talk to somebody live, or are they comfortable ordering your product, understanding how the product works, getting the customer support electronically? Okay, this is all to be learned at part of your customer discovery, is the interaction you have with people and their expectations of how they want the product delivered to them, how they want the business to operate. And again, what you learn from the customer discovery are things that you're going to fold into your sales activity, your sales messages, your marketing activities. So customer discovery is an ongoing activity. It never ends. And everybody in the company should be involved in customer discovery. One of the important things to do is when you get this feedback from customer discovery is document it. One of the things when you're going to be starting a business, you're going to have to do a lot of writing, okay? Businesses are built on a foundation of documentation. At some point in the rec, there's going to be courses, activities, etc., that are going to talk to you about your business model canvas. Not sure how many of you are familiar with that right now, but it's going to be an essential document. Okay. Another one is a financial plan. Absolutely. How much money are you going to spend? How much money are you going to receive? Are you going to be in business very long? Okay. Your sales plan. How are you going to sell the product? Who's going to sell it? Are you going to have your own salespeople? Are you going to use third parties? Are you only going to sell electronically? Okay. One that is brought up a lot, and I get a lot of clients that come to me and say, hey, Steve, I need help with my business plan. And I ask them why. Business plans, I believe, are only necessary when you're really looking to work with a third party for substantial financial investment. Okay? Business plans can be very complex, and I've written many business plans, 50, 60, 70 pages. Very detailed, okay? Lots of voluminous information that most investors don't really study. They may look at it, trying to get a sense, did you do the work or not? Not whether it was valid or not, but did you do the work? Do you understand it? So that's why I put the business plan as a possible waste of your time, unless you're looking at raising serious funds. Marketing plan. How are you going to market it? Okay. McDonald's is one of the greatest marketing plans ever. You know, Ronald McDonald Play Area, and also the Happy Toys marketing activity. Get the kids in, and you also got the parents buying food. Okay. Outstanding marketing strategy. Outstanding. Another one I want to talk to you about that you might not think about is a partnership agreement. And many of you may think about starting your business with a friend or several friends or student colleagues that you know real well. And you say to yourself, why do I need a partnership agreement or a founder's agreement, as it might be called? This is going to be important because business is business, okay? It's very often difficult to do business with friends. The partnership agreement is going to define what the roles are. The partnership agreement is going to define how you value the company. It will define how somebody exits the company and receives their valuation of the company. Okay, so this is all elements of things that go into a partnership agreement. In some respects, you think of it as like a prenup in a marriage. Okay, partnership agreements are important, even when you're doing it with best friends or family members, especially. Another document you're going to have to be ready to be prepared to create, and also an element of your business which most of you will not have thought of, is customer support. How do you handle the customers after they have purchased your product? 6 days after, 6 weeks after, 6 months after. If something isn't working, or they've got a question about something, okay? A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to sell it on the internet. Well, if you sell it on the internet and somebody has it, you know, in Japan, and they have a problem with it in Japan, you know, that's like 9 hours ahead of California. Who's going to answer that customer service call at 3 o'clock in the morning? Customer support plans are essential to a business succeeding. Absolutely essential. There's also financial impacts to that. So these are some of the documents that you're going to need for your business. What also is you're going to need is, what is the product offering? What are you providing to generate the revenue, to solve the problem, to win your customers? Okay. So this is an essential document for all of you to think about being ready to prepare. It's a product requirements document. And it simply defines what you're going to make or what type of service are you going to offer. And as we said earlier on about our customer discovery, what is the purpose of the product? What problems is it going to solve? How is it going to help people's lives be better or their effort in a certain area be easier? This is where you're going to capture that interview feedback. And as I note here, it's a living document. It changes constantly as you continue to talk to the marketplace and your customers. You evolve the PRD. It never dies, because you're also going to capture in there your product feature roadmap. It is the essential document for you to help relay your vision, your ideas of what the product should be and needs to be to the people that are going to be responsible for developing it, for manufacturing it, for selling it, okay? It is so critical because this tells your organization, your company, this is the service and the product that we are offering to our customer base, okay? So the PRD is an essential document. And you've got to think about creating this document and keeping it going, keeping it live and keeping it accurate, because as you go through development, your manufacturing people are going to point out things that can or cannot happen. Your engineering people are going to come up with ideas that you may not have thought about. Don't accept them on face value, that just because the smart engineer said, hey, I can make the circle rounder. Go back to the marketplace, talk to your customers, and see if they really want the circle to be rounder. And if they do, put it into the PRD, okay? Essential document. One of the questions I get asked from a lot of other clients is, well, do I really need a PRD? Or, I've got a yoga studio. Why do I need a PRD for a yoga studio? Well, think about it. What is the service or what is the product of the yoga studio? Anybody choose to put something in the chat? My vision for the yoga studio is it is a way to create relaxation and help people reduce their body stress and feelings to a comfort level that they are happy with. They've got different exercises, they've got different approaches, but still their product is more ethereal than that sometimes. So all of these businesses need a PRD. They need to define what are they offering to people. A food truck, okay? Hey, we're just going to sell, sandwiches and drinks. Oh, what about little wafer snacks that are very healthy for you? What about that? Are you going to need a trash can outside of your truck for people to put their trash? So you've got to think about what you're offering from your food truck. What is the experience that you want? Are you going to have music there? So if you park in a park area, you can play music for people. It's creating an ambiance that makes your food truck attractive. That's part of the service. That's part of the product that you're thinking about. So all of these businesses need a PRD. And here I took a crack at just, trying to look at some elementary requirement questions for different types of businesses and why they need a PRD, okay? I've got one client, she wanted to start a salon, excuse me. And I asked her, well, what kind of salon? And she said, well, she's not sure. And then we spent the whole day, not a whole day, a whole session talking about, is it gonna be a hair salon, skin, nails, massage? she hadn't even defined it to that level. Okay. Is it going to cater to women, to men, to children? Because different types of stylists are going to be necessary if you're going to be a hair salon, if you're going to do nails. Okay. What are the environmental amenities of that salon? I'll use a personal example. A friend of mine up in San Francisco did a men's hair salon, not a barbershop, but it was a salon. It was elegant. It looked like a 1980s European, men's smoking room, leather chairs, wood paneling, et cetera, et cetera. She was even going to offer free whiskey, but the city shut her down on that. So she had to think about the environment. That was part of her discovery activity. What would attract men to her type of salon? She also thought about, should it be a smoking or non-smoking salon? Are there going to be take-home products? Okay, what are the hours of operation? So the point is, if you look at these different types of businesses, they all have different product requirements that need to be answered. Some of them are services, some are actual tangible items that you would think are very simple and straightforward. Oh, I'm going to sell drills. Well, okay, it's an electric drill. Is it cordless or is it a corded drill? What are the bit sizes? Does the drill have to be a special color, or does it need to have a fluorescent color so that it's easily found when it's left at a job site? Does it need a carrying case? Okay. So again, when you're doing your customer discovery, you're looking to answer these types of details that are going to help you better define what is the market need, what are people looking for, and what will they pay money for.
Hey, Steve.
Now, I'm sorry, go on.
Sorry to interrupt. We did have 2 questions
Okay.
from earlier about the customer discovery interviews here in the chat. Deborah said, do customers tend to offer their feedback for free, or is it worth offering a discount or something else to promote more feedback?
Okay, a personal feeling. You never want to entice somebody to talk to you. You never want to pay them because it's not open and honest. Okay, that's personal feeling. The other point to that is approaching somebody. And again, Professor Hertz, we need a course on this. We need a session on how to interview. The first thing that you do when you start an interview or approach somebody is you introduce yourself with a smile, okay? And you say, I am working on this particular activity and I would value your input. Do you have time for a 2 or 3 minute discussion? Make sure that you frame it that you're not going to hold them, for a long period of time, okay? What you will find is that once you get people talking about something that they're interested in, they will extend the conversation. They will keep things going for you. So make sure you frame it that, hey, I've got just a couple of questions. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes, and I would really value input from somebody like yourself. Second or third, when you're done, be sure you thank them and say, this has been very valuable to me. Your input has been exactly what I've been looking for. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And that should be your close, but you can also say, by the way, would you feel comfortable introducing me to one of your friends that I could have a similar type of conversation with? Okay. The worst thing I could say is no, I'm not going to introduce you, and you're no worse off. But I think that you'll find, especially if they extended the dialogue or the discussion, that they're very likely to say, oh, sure, you ought to talk to, or let me introduce you to. Okay. But again, be very, very respectful of their time and their input to you. So I don't feel that it's beneficial to try to entice people with some sort of incentive to talk to you, because that possibly could taint how they express themselves or what they say. Other question?
That's awesome. Thank you so much. The other question from Deanna. I've been asking everyone I meet in real life, but should I also focus online?
Yes and no. Okay. Real life is important. One, body language is important. Are the people smiling at you when they're talking to you, which shows that they're enjoying things? Are they distracted? Okay. Are they antsy? Are they trying to move away, do something else? Okay. Also, it's usually harder to lie to people eye to eye than it is online, or mislead them, rather. Let me not say lie, mislead them. But certainly using today's environment of social media and online activities, it is definitely a vehicle to get input. But you've got to also understand that you don't know that person who's providing that input at all, okay? You've not made any eye contact with them. You don't know, is it really a young father with 3 kids, or is it some high school student that is just pulling a prank on you? So I believe in using social media and online activities, but be guarded about that. I also encourage people, when you're thinking about your target market, to look for groups that you can join and monitor the discussions that are going on, because there you will really see what people think are important. What is bothering them about, baby car seats? Okay, what do they like? What they don't like? So you can just lurk there and gain an awful lot of information without really exposing yourself. So I encourage people to take advantage of extending your market, penetration, market analysis by using social media, by using electronic capabilities. But just realize it's not the same as actually having a one-on-one conversation. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much.
So where I was leading to, we talked about the product requirement document, the PRD. There is a higher level document called the MRD. I know a lot of you are groaning now and say, oh God, Steve's giving us something else to write. And you're right, I have, okay? But these are going to be the watchword of your faith, these documents, because the MRD is going to explain what the customer wants and needs are, what the general product idea is. It's not going to give you product specifics. Let me give you an example. So the market needs a device that people can carry with them wherever they go. It's easy to carry on their person, either in a pocket or a purse or a briefcase or a backpack. It allows them to easily get information. It allows them to send information. It allows them to let people know where they are. It gives them entertainment. Now, did I describe a phone, a smartphone, a tablet, or a laptop? None of them. So the PRD describes whether it's going to be a phone, a laptop, or a tablet. The MRD talks about the general market requirements, the general market need, the general market complexion. So it talks about what is the market need that you hope your product can define. So there's a big benefit to having an MRD, because again, it shows that you understand who your market is. And it helps show how you can potentially evolve your original product to fill a larger market need. So the MRD again, very high level. And it helps you to understand, your market requirements. What are really the needs of that market and how you think a particular solution could benefit them. One of the things that you should also not be afraid to include in your MRD or PRD is examples or stories that people may tell you from your interviews. Again, let's go back to the baby seat. You've got a mother that says, I'll tell you, this one time I tried to get the baby seat uninstalled because I didn't have babies and I had this big package I had to put in the back seat. I had this terrible time. I couldn't reach this, or I couldn't get this. There is nothing wrong with including that story in your PRD so that other people reading it get a better sense of the importance of the ease of installation and the ease of deinstallation of the baby seat. Because you had a quote, you had a story about how it affected this one mother. Or she finally got it out, and when she finally jerked it out, she ripped the upholstery in the car. Those are important things to include to help validate and give it examples of some of the features and the capabilities or the benefits of your solution. So include stories, include examples in your MRD and in your PRD.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. We just have a few more minutes left before our next class comes in to join us. I would just let you know, but this has been great. I don't know if you've seen some of the comments in the chat. Everyone's just so grateful for this information.
Let me fly through the rest of this. This is one of my favorite slides. The MRD leads to the PRD, okay? And I really encourage you all, to get, to thinking about it. What goes into the PRD? I want you folks to take example of a lot of good information on the internet. A lot of it's free. There are lots of templates. Look up product requirement document in Wikipedia, and it will give you a great outline, tremendous outline of what could be in. All of it may not fit to you. Use the internet to get these templates, okay? Take advantage of it. Make sure that your requirements, like I said, are smart, okay? That they're very specific, they're realistic, and you also feel that you can measure, okay? Final central point I want to talk about. I'm sorry, Angela. There are features and there are benefits. Features get people's attention. People pay for benefits. Okay? So think about it. You're going to buy a water bottle that's triple wall, all kinds of insulation, etc. People don't care about that. They're not going to pay for that. What they're going to pay for is that it's going to keep your drink hot or cold. I'll give you another example real quick. Your smartphone has a color LCD on it. Feature or benefit? It's a feature. The benefit is you are going to have a great experience watching videos. Okay, full color. Animations can be full color. If you only watch black and white videos, you have no reason to have a color LCD. So the LCD is a feature. The benefit is the user experience from that. So after the MRD and the PRD, the next technical document, your engineering people, your manufacturing people, is your product specifications. These are where all the little details go in there, okay? The PRD doesn't say that you need 120 volts AC, with only draws 5 amps. It just says you can plug the widget into a house outlet, okay? The technical specification tells you the details. So, important, know what your customers want. That's really my message. Listen to your customers. Don't talk to them, listen to them. And with that, I want to say thank you all. I really appreciate doing this. You can certainly get in touch with me directly, or through Angela, Professor Hertz, Stephen, certainly Enzo. If there's any final questions or comments, I'd like to hear it.
And Steve, you mentioned earlier, you're going to provide us the slide deck so we can make it available to everyone who's watching this.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe I've already sent it to you, but
Mhm.
ask again. So
You got it. Thanks. Thank you so much. We really appreciate this workshop. You did great. I mean, you covered so much and it was really informative. And I love the engagement we had from the audience today. And so thank you so much, Steve. And we really appreciate you having you as one of our mentors here at the REC. You just do so much amazing work with our students.
well, I enjoy the REC and all the people associated with. So good luck to you all. If I can help any of you, please feel free to reach out. Again through Angela, Stephen, Enzo, Professor Hertz. I'm here to help you succeed.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great.
Thank you all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Hertz, and I'm the director of the Regional Entrepreneurship Center, the Rec Innovation Lab at San Diego Miramar College. And I'd like to thank our partners at this time and give a special thanks to SDSU's Lavin Center, the SDSU Zip Launchpad. We'd like to thank the California Entrepreneurship Educators Conference. Also like to thank Harness, the Brink SBDC at USD, San Diego Unified Schools. We'd also like to thank School of Entrepreneurship and Technology, High Tech High, the Regional Advisory Committee, Alex Waters at the Jacobs Center, and Connect All, 21 IQ Labs, Startup Quest, Productified. I'd like to thank Course Key and Tech Coast Angels. Thank you to Village Up, City Heights Development Corporation, San Diego Angel Conference, Startup San Diego, SBDC, SCORE San Diego, We Are Kingdom, New Media Rights, San Diego Tech Hub, Origin 63, Ambrosio 15, OmniSync, Optima Office, Proven Recruiting, Craft Leadership, GS&L Consulting. Thank you to all of our partners. We couldn't do what we do without you. Thank you.